find out people's opinion on domestic violence.
First of all, what is domestic violence? Domestic violence is a violent or aggressive behavior towards one's partner. When you're in a relationship and your partner wants to have control over you. Now, let's look at the causes of domestic violence. The major reason for domestic violence is low self-esteem. Low self-esteem when one feels that he or she is too inferior to you, maybe academically, socially, and economically. So these are some of the causes of domestic violence. And another major thing of domestic violence is drug and drinking. When one is involved in too much drugs and drinking, with that you tend not to have control over yourself.
Okay, so how do you think we can control domestic violence in this society?
I feel that the only way we can control domestic violence is if we can sit down and talk to ourselves and see your partner as equal. See your wife, your husband, the way you see yourself. Once love rules, love and compatibility, I think with that, domestic violence can be reduced to the minimum, but not totally eradicated.
While growing up, did you experience domestic violence?
No, not at all.
When two people actually get married together and they're not actually friends or they're not compatible, to me, I feel that's the basic reason, a basic cause for domestic violence.
Okay, so how do you think domestic violence can be controlled?
I think it's best for one to get married to a friend, get married to someone you've actually courted for a period of time, and you feel you both can actually complement each other in every sense. Yeah, I think that's the solution.
No, not at all.
Okay.
But I've seen a neighbor being beaten up by the husband.
Oh, really?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So who do you think is to blame for domestic violence?
Well, I think I'm looking at both sides, the man and the woman. I'm not saying it's the man, I'm not saying it's the woman. It depends on an individual, the particular person that is involved. Because, okay, let's take an instance, a couple that live together, they might have an issue based on misunderstanding and all, and the man hits the woman. Maybe it's the way the woman actually talked to the man that was what caused that. I think it's both sides.
Okay. So what do you think could be a solution to domestic violence?
Well, you should know who you got married to. You get, if you should know the kind of things to say to the man that will not provoke him to the extent of hitting you. So if you really know how to control a man or really know how to control your tongue, I'm talking about the woman now, then the man wouldn't go to that extent of hitting you. I think we should try and organize more seminars on this domestic violence because it's becoming too much in the country. And based on, I think not everyone is educated on this matter.
Have you ever experienced domestic violence?
Well, no, I haven't. Though I've actually seen people beat their girlfriends up on the street, but it wasn't really cool.
Okay. So who do you think is to blame for domestic violence, the man or the woman?
To be blamed, I think it's all about understanding. Once there is an understanding, I mean, nobody's to be blamed. You can always sort out your differences with your spouse, your girlfriend, and whoever.
Okay. So what do you think is the solution to domestic violence?
Well, the two parties involved need to really communicate with themselves and understand themselves better. I think that should help in a long way. Yeah.
A lot of causes. I think one is misunderstanding, where you don't have this flow of communication from partners, and anger. Some people don't have this spirit to control themselves, and when you are at that range, anything is possible.
Okay, Chinelo, how do you think we can control domestic violence in our society?
I think one of the reasons for domestic violence and the way to control is go check yourself, while you're dating. I think because most times we overlook some certain things in our relationship and the kind of shit you're not going to take in your marriage, don't take it in relationship. So when you begin to see those signs in your relationship, I think you make do of it. So when you feel that there's some kind of forces that comes on you that you cannot control, I believe the spiritual controls the physical. You could go for deliverance, you could go for counselors and all that. It will help you, put you through.
It's always whom to blame, and And sometimes I feel, it's not always the guy that's to blame for domestic violence. The ladies sometimes can be of blame of sort.
Okay. What do you think is the solution to domestic violence?
Couples could always talk about their issues, without fighting. They could always see a therapist, to talk about their issues.
It's really been a wonderful day. You've heard from the people. See you next time. Bye.